All right. Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another hopefully exciting AccuLynx webinar. We present these webinars on a pretty regular basis with the idea being we want to provide some value to you guys, give you some ideas about what we're seeing and doing out there, what we're seeing other contractors do, and hopefully give you some ideas to help you guys be better at your business, find some more success. Even if we can just solve one little problem or give you one little idea that you can take back with your company, at least for me personally, I feel that that's a success. My name is Matt Morris, and I am one of the trainers here at AccuLynx. We also host these webinars here. I am joined today with my partners in crime slash colleagues, Michelle Middleman from our marketing team and Dylan Murphy from our sales team. Say hi, guys.
Morning,
Morning.
everybody.
Michelle is going to be manning or womaning, however the case, whatever the word is these days, the chat box here. We are, of course, using GoToWebinar for this call, which means that while you can hopefully see and hear me, I can't see or hear you. So if you have questions or comments or just something you want to add to the conversation, we'd love to hear about it. Throw that in the chat box or the questions section. We're using GoToWebinar, so on most computers, there's probably a little slide out window or tab on the right side of your screen. I believe if you join in through the browser, there may be something at the top. I forget where that one lives. But anyway, there's a question section. Type something in there. Michelle will be managing those things, either typing an answer in text if it's something that's relatively simple, or at the end of the call, we're going to be doing a Q&A. So if I or Dylan say or show something and you have some questions about it, type it in and we'll get to those at the very end. But let's go ahead and jump right into the topic today. The title, of course, is 3 Steps to Growing Your Roofing Business Right Now. And, you know, one of the things that I love about being in this business here is that we get to talk to contractors all day long. Dylan on more of the front end side of things and the sales and reaching out to people. Maybe you've spoken to some of you guys before. And then I handle on the training side. So I get to kind of get a little bit of a deeper dive into what they're doing with their business and some of the challenges they're facing and the ways they solve them. But if you don't know anything about AccuLynx at all, let me just start with that in case you just randomly clicked on a link to join and you don't even know who these guys are. AccuLynx is a really the leading all-in-one business management platform designed really specifically for the roofing contractors. Now we started up in 2008 or so with the when we realized that there were computer programs out there. There were systems for organizing sales teams or engineering teams and all sorts of other teams, but there was really nothing that was catered to, well, probably you, right? The kind of company you are. Right. Most of the people that are talking to us, they're in the roofing or the exterior trades business, and they're not massive mega firms, right? There used to be these programs that would be geared for, the way I like to think of it is the type of company that might go build a shopping mall or an airport or whatever. I mean, that's a massive firm that has a lot of moving parts, and so you need a lot of detail. But by comparison, the type of work you guys do, I mean, even if you're a big company, the amount of work you're doing on a per job basis, it's relatively limited, right? You sell a job, you build a job, you close a job. And we don't have engineers and architects and all these other various, moving parts there. And there really was nothing designed for that type of an organization. And so that's really what AccuLynx started off to be. And of course, at this point, years later, over a decade later, God, that's hard to believe. We have now over thousands of contractors every day that are using AccuLynx to run their business, to organize their chaos, to manage their teams, hold people accountability, and see what's going on. And of course, over the years, we've accumulated a number of awards, both in terms of the software itself. We've gotten reviews and been awarded by various organizations for what the software is. But also, I would say, and this is what, at least personally, I'm just as proud of, is the people, is the culture, is the organization that we have. Because really what we've done is we've brought together a bunch of people that are just passionate about helping people succeed in whatever way, shape, or form it is that they need to succeed in. And we've all found a kind of a like-mindedness there. And that also rolls up to designing the program and selling the program and training the program and hosting calls like this. Because look, honestly, I want you to be successful. I'd love for you to be successful with AccuLynx, but I just really want you to be successful. And hopefully at least one of the ideas or thoughts or concepts that we throw out today will give you something you can take back to your team and help that to be help that goal to happen here. So let's kind of jump in. First of all, what are some of the common problems in the roofing industry, right? We've identified kind of 4 big ones that seem to come up again and again and again, no matter the company, big or small, retail and stormers or whatever the case is. What are some of the problems? Well, we've identified some things as lack of visibility, right? They have a hard time figuring out what's going on in their jobs. You know, you got stuff in 3 or 4 or 5 different systems or places. You got an email, and you got texts, and you got Dropbox, and you got some app on your phone, and whatever it is. And you're doing everything you need to do, but if you need to find the answer, there's not one place to find it, and it can be tricky to find things. Connections can get lost, important instructions can get missed, and so forth. Disorganization, right? Piles of paper. I'm willing to bet that at least one of you on the call today can reach out and within arm's length touch about half a pine tree's worth of paper, right? Files and folders and paperwork all over the place. And you know, even though that can be convenient to have a folder that you open up and you say, well, Matt, I've got visibility, I've got this folder in front of me. I'm guessing you've had the situation where somebody takes the folder out of the office that wasn't supposed to take the folder out of the office, and now you're disorganized. Or things are all over the place. You slip the invoice for the Smith job into the Murphy file accidentally, and now no one's ever going to find that invoice ever again, right? Or manual processes, lots of paperwork that you've got to hand fill out or check off or manually look over spreadsheets or whatever it is to find out what's going on. That can be time consuming at best, but error prone at worst, right? Because you're bringing a human element into all of that type of a thing, and people get tired and people get distracted, and again, stuff, you know, falls off the back of your desk, or coffee spills on it, or it blows out the window of your truck or whatever. So again, it's prone to error, it's prone to failure. And then finally, it's an unadaptable system, right? You get locked into these very rigid processes that can be tricky if, well, things change, right? If you run into an imperfect situation, and I'm guessing if I asked for a show of hands of who's run into imperfect situations, all of you guys would raise your hands. Personally, I remember we had a little 18 or 20 square Cape Cod roof that we were trying to throw on east of Indianapolis a couple of years back, or a number of years back now. We thought it'd be an easy peasy in and out, be done earlier in the day, and the crew tears off the shingles, and oh, hello, asbestos shingles. Well, that changed a whole lot of things really quick, and the ability to adapt to those things and have processes in place to say, how are we going to handle this? What are we going to do to solve this? And being able to do that digitally really saved our bacon. So given what I've just said here, I'm actually curious. I'm going to throw a poll up on the screen and kind of get a feel for which of you guys, or which of those things that you guys are maybe encountering, or which of those you feel is the most critical to you. Michelle, on my end, I'm stalling. I don't have a poll button. Can you launch that poll, please?
I was just going to say, I think I have to launch the poll for you, Matt.
All right, behind the scenes, we're imperfect here too, so we're just going to kind of roll with it, but Michelle's going to launch that poll. And I'd love to get your guys' feedback and interaction. I want to learn a little bit about you guys. So go ahead and click one of those options. Maybe some of you guys say, can I click all of them? Pick one. Pick the one that you think that jumps out at you the first. I'd love to hear what you guys think here. So we'll keep the poll open for a couple of minutes while Dylan goes and hums the Jeopardy theme song here for stalling for a couple seconds here. And then we'll go from there here. So maybe give another 10 or 15 seconds.
All right. So you're going to laugh, Matt. We have almost a complete split, 33, 33, 33, between more visibility, better organization, and automate more processes.
So what you're saying is we know what we're talking about. All right, cool. So you've got, we got an even split here of what's going on, although not adaptable, maybe not as big of a hit with the crowd this morning. That's okay. So, but thank you. Seriously, thank you for that feedback. We love to hear from you guys and learn a little bit more about what you guys are doing here. So, oops, I should have pushed that up before. Anyway, next. So let's talk about 3 steps that we've developed or that we've discovered can help you with growing your roofing business. And we're going to keep some of those things in mind. Hang on a second. I thought I was going to sneeze. I'm not. All right. So step 1, and I know we're a little bit into 2021 here. There you go. There's the sneeze. I told you it was coming. We're a little bit into 2021, but there's never a bad time to go back and look at how you were performing before, right? Especially if you're looking to make decisions about 2021, right? You maybe made already some decisions, but you're coming into late spring, early summer, and this is when most of our customers, most of the contracting business really starts to ramp up, right? So late winter, early spring is kind of like getting on the on ramp, but man, right around now and looking at the next 4, 5, 6 months is really kind of the highway of the year generally in most industries, or I'm sorry, in most markets. So being able to look back at what you did before, what lead sources worked well for you before, what marketing efforts worked well, were there certain types of jobs that performed better, either better profitability, or maybe they were just easier and faster turnaround for increasing cash flow, or let's consider the opposite. Did something maybe not go so well? Right? Maybe maybe you had some chaos in some areas. Maybe you had some constant headache. I know for me, whenever I look back at things, if it seems like there's a trend, if it seems like, wow, all of my customers are blah, blah, and blah right now, it's like I have to stop long enough to recognize that the only thing that all of my customers have in common is me. I mean, that's the only thing in common, right? Men, women, old, young, big, small, East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, it doesn't matter. The only thing they've got in common is me. And so if they're all having a similar type of a struggle, really the smart thing is to evaluate, what can I do differently? How can I change up my processes or my communication or my training or my agendas or whatever it is to try to reduce and or eliminate those problems? Oh, speaking of late spring, hello allergies. All right. So next up, so yeah, what processes challenged you, right? Was it like, man, every time we got a gutter job, those jobs just dragged on, or every time we brought interior trades in, man, those things just, went from a 3 week product to a project to a 3 month project, or, when every time we bring on all these sales guys, we have all this problem with paperwork or whatever it is, right? Identify what processes challenged you, and I would say, establish some goals. And it can be easy to say, wow, we had problems here, 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 and here, and try to solve all of those things at once. And I think years ago I learned something from one of our customers. He told me, Matt, I take 3 big bites a year with my business. And that was his way of saying he tackles 3 challenges a year. He picks 3 big things that he feels will move the needle the most for him or his people or his business. And those are the things that he attacks each year. So try to avoid saying I want to attack all of the problems at once. But what are the 2 or 3 biggest things that you can focus on this year, and try to establish some goals, and then help you track your progress to those goals. Right? We all know the adage, right? What you track, you see progress in. Right? If you want to go to the gym, you can go to the gym every day, and I'm not saying you won't get better, but if you sit there and log in, well, today I did this many reps, and tomorrow I did this many reps, then you're going to start to see those numbers go up, or your speed go down, or your times go down if you're tracking, how long it takes you to run a lap or whatever it is, right? So establish some goals, but then track your progress towards those goals, right? How about this? Eliminating some redundancies and manual processes, right? We talked earlier, one of the things you guys said that was a big problem was being able to find everything in one place, right? Yes, you might have a finely tuned, what I'm going to jokingly call hodgepodge system of different apps and programs and services and spreadsheets and databases and files and everything else that lets you do everything. But you might say, well, that's, it's so much faster to do things in this spreadsheet. It's so much faster just to scribble something down in this notebook. And in the moment, sure, it can be, but think about the amount of time that you lose by not having everything in one place. Today, you've saved some time, but there's a saying that a mentor of mine used to use, and it's always stuck with me, that you're borrowing pain from the future, right? And you might save some time today, but tomorrow it costs you 10 times the time because you can't find the thing, or you've got to call or text or email or forward things back and forth in order to figure out what's going on. How about things like pre-filling digital documents instead of having 8 or 10 or 12 different pieces of paper that you've got to have to manually fill in names and addresses and whatever, having things that can be pre-filled. Bringing in aerial diagrams, can you integrate those into some of your other systems and processes? Import numbers, import measurements, things like that. Digital signatures, last year I know was a pretty boring standard year. There was nothing really outstanding about 2020, right? It wasn't like we were all stuck at home and we couldn't go out and talk to people. Yeah, right. I mean, obviously, e-sign was a huge thing that a lot of contractors were picking up because, well, either they weren't physically capable or allowed, or they weren't welcome sitting in front of a customer, sitting across the dining room table, breathing their air, like they had been in times past. And so being able to offer the ability to digitally sign documents or process payments online without having to swing by someone's house to pick up a physical check, was a huge deal. How about automating emails? A lot of companies these days are bringing in more and more communication with their customers where they want to be able to talk to them as statuses change or as they want to give them updates about the job. And so being able to automate some of those things, especially if it's like the same email over and over and over again, you'll find ways to automate those things. Can you use a system that will automatically send that information out for you as opposed to you having to type it in? Now, going with having everything in one place, the first point is the ability to access your data from one place, right? If you have everything sitting on a server in your closet, but you still can't access it, I mean, that's better, but it's not as good as being able to access it from the field, from the office, from the beach, from your hotel, from the slopes in Aspen if you're going skiing or whatever it is. And then, of course, being able to schedule things and do reports and get those reports maybe automatically sent to you. If you're able to have everything in one place, it gives you the ability to actually then run reports and get visibility onto how things are performing. So finding these little ways, and I'm not saying every one of these is going to be the key to your success, but the more of those things that you can try to incorporate, they're going to bring more efficiency into reducing costs, increasing revenue, speeding up the process of processing things, and helping it make it so that your customers feel like when they call your office, that they're getting a good experience, right? The right hand knows what the left hand is doing. How about this one? Being able to remain flexible. Again, another one of my mentors said back early on, if you've got construction, you've got problems, right? And I know that might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but crap's going to go down. I mean, my story of the asbestos shingles, yeah, that was a problem, right? And it could be something as simple as extra layers of wood or shingles that you found or whatever. But having the ability to both mentally be adaptable, but also have your systems be adaptable, right? That you can see that there's a challenge and make those changes and communicate those changes to everybody else, I would argue, is some of the most important aspects of this, right? Because you can make a change, but if the rest of the company doesn't know you made the change, then still you have the potential for somebody to be at this job site when he should have been at that job site because again there was no communication open up like that. So being able to have tools that let you see what's going on, change in real time, communicate with people in real time about those decisions is another key to making sure that you have as much flexibility and as little chaos in your organization as possible. Remember, you're not a team of individuals, you are a couple of individuals that are making up a team, right? So think of it in terms of the team. What does the team need to know? Now, obviously, spoiler alert, if you haven't caught the hint, Aculinks has built some tools that are designed to kind of help solve some of those problems, right? Among other things, and we have a whole host of tools, and Dylan's going to showcase those in just a moment. But the ability to have everything that's centralized, right? We realized 10 or 15 years ago that paper folders had some inherent flaws with them. Even though there were some great things about them, there were still some inherent flaws with them. So being able, basically, it's a centralized database. It's cloud-based, which means you can access it from anywhere, any device, anytime that you need it, right? So having information that's centrally located, you can access it from the office. So if you're an owner or a secretary or an administrator or an office manager on the call today, yeah, you can access it from the office on your laptop or your desktop or whatever. If you're somebody that's in the field, you can access the information from your phone or from your tablet or whatever device you may have with you. We have sales tools that help you both sell more because you can do things digitally and email things over, either physical copies or do things digital like digital signatures, being able to run automations. So some of those menial things like communicating customers about scheduled delivery dates or changes to their jobs or what to expect next or whatever. So having that ability to create automation that just send things out so you can focus on the things that require your attention and not the menial things like just copying and pasting email templates, right? How about being able to run reports on what's going on, activity, progress? How profitable are we? How many jobs are being held up over here or over there? How many jobs still need to be invoiced or how many deals are coming in from our sales team? And then, of course, reporting, giving you the ability to bubble all of that stuff up to one report where you can start to see all that information and then make decisions based on what you did this year, this month, this quarter, this week, or last year, last month, last quarter, last week. So, 3 steps, right? What are some takeaways? Having the ability to run reports and dashboards that let you see what's going on and identify potentially new opportunities, or what are we doing that's not serving us well? The converse can be equally as valuable. We don't need to spend as much time over here because those jobs are problems, or those jobs are low profit, or those jobs are low revenue, or whatever, right? Having features to help you reduce double entry. So things like digital documents or entering data into an online form that gets propagated other places so that your teams, specifically your sales teams, right, they can focus on working and selling, not just doing paperwork, right? And then having shared and online production information so that everybody can see what's going on at a moment's notice. If I call your office and I'm a customer, I should be able to talk to everybody or anybody and find the answer to, hey, when's my job being built or whatever, and not a, well, hang on, we need to call Dylan, but Dylan's out of the office right now, so we'll call you back, right? That's what comes when only one person knows the information or it's only on their notepad.